Oh, my purchase must be justified! The new 3DS line of systems, one of the most confusing naming schemes for any game console of all time, just based on the fact that, yeah, we call video game consoles in stores new video game consoles or used video game consoles. What's a new version of this? What's a used version of this? What do you call that? It really could have saved us the hassle and called it Super Nintendo 3DS or Nintendo 3DS Pro, but now they decided with new 3DS. Nintendo really likes the word new. New Super Mario Brothers, Yoshi's New Island, new Pokemon Snap, and of course, new 3DS and new 3DS XL. They needed a very specific name to say, like, hey, this is something a little different. It's still a 3DS, but it's newer. And that's because this thing has increased horsepower and a lot of extra little features here and there. They don't make a huge difference, but enough, which they're labeling all the major new features here on the back. First up, super stable 3D. So the original 3DS's 3D display, if you would move it just a little bit, wouldn't work. It was fucking awesome. Now with the new 3DS XL, it tracks your eyes with the front-facing camera, and thus it'll adjust the 3D based on the angle that your eyes are looking at it. It's not 100% perfect, but it's a hell of a lot better than the previous 3DS's. C-stick for enhanced controls. I prefer the term C-nipple. Yeah, look at this thing. It's gross. So this was an often requested feature back when the 3DS first came out, a second analog stick. And Nintendo said, okay, we won't give you that. They went for like the weirdest way to go about it. It works, but it's just like, why? Basically just a little pencil eraser. It doesn't move, but it detects where your finger is on it. It's touch sensitive, so it's pretty much only here as a means for camera control, because that's all it's kind of good for, is, just kind of quickly going up to it and just kind of adjusting it very quickly. It does work, but, obviously would prefer a second stick. But what are you gonna do? It does the job. It gives us at least something to replicate a second stick on the 3DS. Built-in amiibo and NFC support, so, that's convenient. You just pop it on the touchscreen right there. And the big one, faster processing power. Remember, Nintendo advertised how much faster web browsing is on the 3DS now. Finally can get rid of this. The faster processing power just makes using the new 3DS systems so much smoother. It just feels much better compared to original 3DS, 3DS XL, 2DS, any of those. There's just something about using this system. Everything just feels so much faster and just more intuitive, less clunky, all of that. I mainly use an original 3DS because that's the model of 3DS that I have modded for capture. So that's the one I play most of the time these days. And whenever I go back to a new 3DS after using the original 3DS for so long, I go like, oh my god, this is what life can be? It's just so much better. The screen feels nicer, the buttons feel nicer. Using an XL just feels so much more luxurious. So yeah, bottom line, these systems were way better. They had a couple of little things I didn't really like they moved the stylus down here. Thanks. You have to unscrew the entire bottom plate to access your micro SD card, which, a bit of a pain. Of course, a big controversy was back when these were new, they originally did not come with an AC adapter. Which, if they were using, micro USB or something, understandable, but, no, using a Nintendo DSi charger. Man, I only have 3 of those in my house. They don't grow on trees. But overall, it's very clear. The new 3DS line of systems, they're the definitive version of the 3DS. Mainly because you can't play every game on the original 3DS. Yeah, whenever Nintendo does an upgraded system revision, you can at least count on 3 of these things coming out. Exclusive games, specifically for the better hardware. New 3DS exclusives. Now, there was actually a decent amount if you go on to the new 3DS eShop. There's quite a few games that you'll see say new 3DS only. some made by Nintendo specifically, that being Super Nintendo games. So for some reason, Nintendo made Super Nintendo games on the 3DS Virtual Console exclusive to new 3DS systems only. Now, is that because they couldn't run on the original 3DS? No, not at all. I mean, like, come on, they're Super Nintendo games. Why wouldn't they work on the original 3DS? Nah, it kind of felt like Nintendo just wanted to give the new 3DS just slightly more of an edge, just kind of like a feeling like it's just like, man, like, you need that new 3DS, or to the people that bought a new 3DS, like, man, you didn't make a mistake. Like, look at all these games that you can only play on new 3DS. Super Mario World. When in reality, I mean, there have been people that have hacked the 3DS and loaded up emulators on that thing, and yeah, Super Nintendo was like pretty easy to put on the original 3DS. But outside of those classic legacy games, I know Binding of Isaac made it onto new 3DS only, which that was a bit of a notorious canceled 3DS game. They originally wanted to put that game on the original 3DS, but didn't really make it past certification. I think Nintendo had a problem with the content of the game, as it was, you know, a bit M-rated. But as the years went on, Nintendo loosened up quite a bit when it came to what content can be in games on their platforms. Just check out the Switch eShop. Yeah, loose. And they were finally able to put it out on the new 3DS. I'm not really sure why it had to be new 3DS only, because, you know, Binding of Isaac was originally being made for the original 3DS, so, you know, there shouldn't be any reason why it couldn't run on there, but I don't know. But what I want to talk about today are the retail exclusive games, because there's not many of them. Yeah, these are games that only run on new 3DS systems. For one reason or another. Many times, like, it's quite warranted, you know, like, these games are really demanding, and definitely, like, you can see, like, okay, these are definitely taking advantage of the greater processing power on these systems. And then some games, like, I feel like they're only on new 3DS because they got kind of lazy. They just didn't want to put the work into creating, like, an original 3DS version. But here we have the first new 3DS exclusive, and that is Xenoblade Chronicles 3D. This was kind of the poster child for the new 3DS, and it kind of feels like they just kind of wanted to put this out, not only to give Xenoblade Chronicles a second chance, but to just show how capable the new 3DS is. And it kind of succeeded. So the original Xenoblade Chronicles on Wii, like, the art direction is really good, but then you actually get to the the graphics. Like, Christ, not the prettiest looking game. The art direction is very pretty, but the graphics, like what the Wii is able to pump out, like, ugh. And the new 3DS retains that jank, that kind of gross looking style. It goes even further, because a new 3DS is definitely more powerful than a 3DS, but it ain't more powerful than a Wii. But the fact they were able to get this game running as well as it does on a handheld back in 2015, that was pretty incredible. Monster Games did the port of this. They did the Excite Truck and Excite Bots games on Wii. They ported Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D, so naturally they were the perfect fit for you know, fucking Xenoblade. I wouldn't say this is the definitive way to play the game. Probably the version of the game with definitive in the title would be that. Back in 2015, this was probably the way to experience Xenoblade. Mainly because the Wii version was still kind of hard to find. And this was really cool because, like, hey, you could play it on the go, on a handheld. That was badass. The problem was, of course, only on new 3DS, you know, it kind of had to be. But it just kind of stunk for Xenoblade, because not only did Xenoblade 1 get a raw deal on the Wii, with the North American release being super limited at GameStop only, but then it gets a second chance, and it's on the damn new 3DS. Now, not the 3DS as a whole, like the much more limited install base of the new 3DS. Makes me wonder why they didn't push like another Wii game to port to new 3DS to maybe push this line of systems even more. And I can imagine maybe like Twilight Princess, Super Paper Mario, hell, Resident Evil 4, why the hell not? But no, they went with Xenoblade. And you know, I think this is definitely a showstopper. It's really cool to see this on 3DS. But I can't help but wonder, like, what if they did other games or a different game to remake for this system. But as it is, this has a different box layout compared to regular 3DS games. Kind of a strange way to go about it, you know, like just putting it on the top. And not only putting it on the top, but you know, making it thicker. I just feel like it makes the artwork feel like kind of like claustrophobic. Like it just doesn't have much room to breathe. It's very strange. Leave it to Nintendo. They have to really make sure, like, it's just like, hey, you gotta know this is on new 3DS only, so we put it on top. I just always found this to look just really just it just looks weird. Just looks kind of creepy. On the side just says new 3DS, nothing crazy. And then on the back, only major thing is it says not compatible with Nintendo 3DS and 2DS systems. And then the game cartridge itself, it's a damn 3DS cartridge. Yeah, it's a bit unlike the cartridges Nintendo produced for the DSi exclusive games, which were, you know, a white color instead of the general gray, black color of the DS cartridges. Damn, they really trusted us to tell the difference. But of course, I just gotta see what pops up when you put this into a regular 3DS. And yeah, the little screen comes up here, shows the game, but when we click on it, this is new Nintendo 3DS software. It cannot be used on this system. Rats. Got pretty damn far though. You gotta be impressed with that. But Xenoblade 3D was like the only new 3DS retail game for the longest time. But then we got a couple more here and there. Rumbo Pocket. This is a port of a Wii U game. Rumbo was a indie title that got a bit of attention because, you know, this is when Nintendo was really pushing the indie support on their systems because, you know, what else were they gonna do? And Rumbo was a big indie title coming to Wii U. It was pretty much exclusive to Wii U at the time. And it was a 2D platformer that you could also play in multiplayer. It was kind of a fun little frantic mission-based game where these colors would come into screen, they'd wipe into screen, and the color that would come in on screen and kind of overtake the background, you know, that would then make certain platforms of that color disappear. So then you could kind of go through certain gaps, but, you know, the color would change every couple seconds. So, you know, it would change which platforms you could hop on and whatnot. It's a really fun little game. I wish it got a lot more attention because it has a really fun art design, really fun concept, great multiplayer, all of that, tons of different modes, a fantastic soundtrack, and they decided to bring it to 3DS in the form of Rumbo Pocket. I find it cute when they give like the handheld versions that kind of name, even though like for all extents and purposes, this is just Rumbo. Like you could just call it Rumbo, but no, it's Rumbo Pocket. And yeah, this is Rumbo on the Wii U on new 3DS. And you know, being a 2D game, it doesn't really feel like, oh man, we're really using the power of the new 3DS here. I would assume, and this is coming from somebody who knows absolutely nothing about game development, but I'd assume making this a new 3DS exclusive was just easier. It was just easier to kind of take the general game from Wii U and just bring that to new 3DS rather than the original 3DS where they probably have to do a little more tweaking and maybe even rebuild it from the ground up. I have no doubt that this game would work on the original 3DS, but bringing it to new 3DS was probably just a lot more efficient and budget friendly, but that's just me assuming. This game works really well as a handheld game, but unfortunately it doesn't really take advantage of a lot of regular 3DS features like, you know, plays only in 2D. In fact, I believe Xenoblade 3D is the only of the retail games that has 3D enabled. But either way, this is a great little retail release. It includes a lot of the DLC. It also includes some 3DS menu themes, which is pretty cool. Yeah, there's just not much else to say about Rumbo Pocket. It's a good version of the game. You know, I wish it was available on all 3DS systems, but new 3DS was just probably a little easier to bring it to. But of course, we can't talk about new 3DS games without talking about Minecraft. Because there's only like 4 of them, so it's just like, you know, it's inevitable. So I remember this getting announced in a 2017 Nintendo Direct. This was during the time where, you know, we were kind of like, all right, you know, stop talking about the 3DS, let's talk about the Switch. It was like the September 2017 Nintendo Direct. That was where they revealed a lot more stuff about Mario Odyssey. A month before that came out, they revealed Doom and Wolfenstein 2 for the Switch. That's where they also showed off Mario Party The Top 100, so, you know, it was a bit of an emotional roller coaster that day. But they also showed off Minecraft New Nintendo 3DS Edition, to the confusion of everybody. I mean, let's be honest, kind of makes sense. Who was mainly playing the 3DS at the time? Probably kids. Minecraft appeals to a lot of kids. put it on the new 3DS. This is pretty interesting to see run on 3DS hardware, even if it has to be new 3DS. You know, that C-Stick definitely comes in handy. That actually might be a lot of the reason why Minecraft is on the new 3DS only. I assume it's on new 3DS mainly because, like, they wanted to just put Minecraft on a 3DS system, but, you know, obviously in 2017, it doesn't make a lot of sense to put a ton of resources into that. So, you know, probably new 3DS, you know, it just worked out a lot better. It was easier to bring that over. You also got the C-Stick, so you don't have to come up with a clunky solution to play Minecraft with one analog stick. And yeah, they actually put a lot of care into making sure this is optimized for the 3DS. You have the entire bottom touchscreen where you can access your inventory and menu systems. It works really well, and the game looks fine on the 3DS. It plays fine. And it oddly doesn't come with like a lot of the little DLC packs that the Wii U version came with, like the Mario pack. It's a bit of a stripped down version of Minecraft, but it's still Minecraft, and it works fine enough. I think at the time, if reviews were saying, like, why play this when you have other versions of Minecraft? It's just like, well, the only reason why you'd play this is if it's the only option you got. So I think in that regards, it does the job. It's Minecraft. If you have other options, this is kind of a neat little novelty. Though it only plays in 2D, that's kind of lame. You know, I think that would have been really cool to see. Like Minecraft in 3D, that would be pretty cool. But as it stands, this is just an oddity. It's just like, why? Speaking of why, Fire Emblem Warriors. Yes, this game got announced as a Nintendo Switch game at the Nintendo Switch presentation in 2017. I remember they just kind of teased it. They just showed like Chrome's sword and Chrome grabbing his sword, and then that was it. And then like a week later, they showed full gameplay. I'm like, it's just like, why? But a week later, when they showed full gameplay, they also announced, yes, Fire Emblem Warriors is coming to the new 3DS as well, exclusively. That was just kind of puzzling, but yeah, Warriors games have been on 3DS before, specifically Hyrule Warriors Legends, and that was just available on everything, you know, 3DS, 2DS, blah, 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 blah. And it ran like ass. Most people would say, like, yeah, if you're gonna play Hyrule Warriors Legends, play it on a new 3DS system. I guess the developers took that criticism to heart, and they were just like, all right, we're not even gonna try. Make it a new 3DS exclusive. And yeah, seeing this game run on new 3DS is definitely weird. You know, this has always been a Nintendo Switch game to me, so seeing a game like that with the chunky 3DS visuals, definitely strange, but it runs and works a lot better than you may think. So much so that there's not much else to say about it. It's basically just like, yeah, it runs on 3DS fine enough. I assume this was done just to kind of like give the 3DS just more titles in 2017, and this was just something where it's just like, hey, we can make this work on new 3DS. Let's just do it. Just make this work so then we can just have that extra insurance policy. Because I'm sure Nintendo was absolutely petrified at the idea of the Nintendo Switch failing, so they wanted to make sure the 3DS was still getting support so they could just jump right back into that system if need be. So, Fire Emblem Warriors! And yeah, it runs. It also has the crunchiest looking 3DS menu screen I've ever seen. But yeah, that's pretty much the new 3DS exclusive lineup. I remember there was a rumor that Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn was going to be exclusive to the new 3DS. I remember like Nintendo's official website said, oh, this is a new 3DS exclusive, but no, thank God. We all got the right to that. But this continued the tradition of Nintendo kind of just letting something happen, but not really caring. Like, they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna make new 3DS exclusive games. Well, this is plural. Same with DSi games. System flaw, guys. The only upgraded revision that's ever gotten like more games than like 5 Nintendo's done was the Game Boy Color. And that got so damn many, I find it hard to classify that as something like a new 3DS, you know? But this will always be like one of the weirder segments of Nintendo's history of just the fact that there's only like a couple of these things. Definitely not as weird as DSi exclusive games, but weird in its own right. But I believe this is all of the retail exclusive games for the system, so, you know, hey, yay me. And I'm not gonna brag about it because I don't expect you to care. unless I tell you I own all the new 3DS retail exclusive games and System Flaw. I always wanted to be that guy!